Now let's proceed further, guys. So yesterday, if you remember, I was talking about that today we will be walking through the key application. What was the first application I was talking about? Anyone, do you remember? Yesterday we saw
San Diego, that
application. San Diego is not
application. Okay. Instance.
Anyone, what all key applications did we talk about yesterday? Obviously an overview, but what did we talk about?
The application is, I think that Jitro, or I
didn't use any such term.
Incident.
Perfect, incident.
So incident let's begin is the case, right, in your side?
So yesterday, if you remember the slide I started with, I talked about incident as an application.
Oh, okay.
You need to see the recording. Okay. So let's proceed further, guys. So let me share the slide with you. So what we talked about? We talked about incident means something is broken, something is not working as Lata. So yesterday we have done all the brief on this. So if you are, a little confused with that, that is totally fine.
Yeah, I haven't received that video recording.
Have you made the payment to Srini?
I think already I paid. I think maybe tomorrow morning he will reach that payment.
Okay, so once we receive
I think maybe 2-3 hours. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe because of that. Okay. So now, guys, let me share my screen here and let's go to creating an incident. So yesterday we also talked about everyone in the company will be able to create an incident. The incident is the application which everyone in the company should be allowed to create because anyone, anytime can face issue of any kind. Now, let's proceed further. So what I want to talk about over here in this case is I want to go further in this one and create an incident for me. So type incident in the left hand side. Don't go to all these options, guys. You will be able to relate things later on. Rather, when you type incident, if you see under the incident header, I see a create new, I would say begin from there. Okay, so let's do that. So I'll go to the incident create new. Let's see how does it work. So when I'm going to do the configuration in here, the moment I click on create, as you can see, the screen pops up. So now we want to understand the meaning of all these fields in here so that we relate, so that we are able to understand the application better. So let me proceed further and begin with the first field over here on our screen, which is number. What is that? Now, say it this way. In your organization, a number of employees are there, obviously. So we have to have certain uniqueness on the ticket created. When I'm reporting an incident, we have to associate certain unique number to that. Why? So that let's say, suppose just a scenario, 10 people reported an incident to hardware. Me being one of the member or one of the person, if I ask hardware that, okay, I need help, where is my ticket update, whatever, the technical team will be lost in understanding, okay, which issue is the user referring to? Because the technical team has so many tickets. So over there, if certain uniqueness is there, correct, it will always make people life much more easy. So how are we handling that? We are handling that by making use of number. We are saying what in that case? We are saying over there in that particular case that for every record, for every incident which we create, a unique number will get auto-populated there. Can you see that, guys? It is getting auto-populated. Anyone, can you help me in understanding why are we auto-populating it? Any reason about that?
to maintain the sequence and uniqueness.
Okay. Perfect. Because like, correct, you said, like, let's say, for example, if system would have exposed that to me, then what will happen? If ServiceNow gives me the scope over here in this case to go ahead and do the configuration, then the problem in that case will be what? Then the problem over there in that particular case will be that, okay, let's say as an end user, I don't know what is the uniqueness, what is the unique number which I need to feed in, correct? So that's why we are saying, okay, from the backend, and as you can see also on the screen, from the backend only, the unique number will be populated. And that's that. What else? The next thing which we need to understand over here in this particular one up is, now when we are doing the configuration over here in this case, we also need to relate what? We also need to relate over here in this case, the next thing, very important field in here is caller. Let's see what caller is about. So as you can see, when I'm putting my mouse on the caller, it reads person who is reporting the issue or the person who is actually impacted. Always remember that this one is nothing but, this one in here is all about, caller is always the impacted person. Caller is always the person who is actually facing the issue. Okay, so if I am facing the issue, I'll become the caller. Now, while populating the caller, it can be done two ways. How it can be done? One, let's say if I am the caller, let's say if I am the impacted person, I can populate my name myself there. If I'm creating the ticket for myself, I can go in there and put in my name saying that, okay, I'm the caller. What if the other scenario happens where, suppose my laptop was crashed. So obviously in that case, I am not able to report the ticket on my own. So then what will happen in that case? In such particular case, we will go ahead and we will make use of what? In such particular case, we will go ahead and make use of a configuration called populating the caller on behalf of someone. Let's talk about that. Okay, so one scenario could be, as I said, I'll myself populate it, or let's say I'm the help desk. You guys are calling me. So once I receive the call, you say that, okay, yeah, Saloni, I'm facing certain issue. So in that case, the person who is facing the issue, I'll go and populate the name here. Let's see now the behavior of caller in here, guys. Let's say I go over here and Sri Devi called me. So I'll just populate her name. And when done, let's try to proceed further. Can you notice in here, in the caller, when I'm populating the name, it's giving me error. What error does it say over here in this case? The error which the system is giving me in here is, it is saying that, okay, this is an invalid reference. What does that mean? Means it is an invalid reference means that we cannot type in something free flow there. Correct? So what does that mean? Now let's talk a bit about that. We need to understand over here in this particular one up that when I'm doing the configuration in the caller, what does it look like? It looks like over here in this case that in this particular one up, you cannot type in string value. Then what does, or how will the selection work? So we need to understand over here in this particular one up while doing the setup that at any given point in time, whenever we are doing the configuration and whatnot, we always need to remember this, that while doing the configuration in here, while doing the setup over here in this case, the caller field will never accept string value. And how will that work? Let's talk a bit about that. Always remember, caller field in here, what is the type of such field? It says caller field in here is called reference field. And again, everyone guys, in your session, we will be having 30-35 days session, 30-35 long hour session. So obviously it will be tough for you to remember whatever we talk today. Obviously you will not remember it tomorrow. So yeah, I know Srinivas has to share recording and I'm not denying that, but I'm saying start making notes, guys. I would say people who are comfortable, you can make the notes in the class right away when I'm saying things. Others, you can do it after the class, again see the recording. Whatever is your comfortable thing, do that. But if you don't make notes after a day, you will be in a situation what happened to Lata today, that yeah, you obviously, we are all human, it's totally a new world to you. So I don't expect you to remember that, but that should be your takeaway from the training, that you must remember the things I'm saying, because yeah, you are paying me, you need a job from this and whatnot. And also, if you have any concern with me, with the speed, with the question, feel free to ask that, ping me in the chat. When I say, okay, if you have any question, ask me there and whatnot. Sridevi, we'll share all the recordings with everyone once the payment is done, as I said yesterday. So once we receive it, you will get it.
Saloni, already I have paid.
So then let me talk to Srinivas for that. So who all has paid? Can you please let me know so that I can talk to Srini for that? I know Sridevi and Lata, you said that, correct? So let me talk about you guys. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me talk to Srini about that. Just give me 1 second. But I would say, yeah, be in that college mode, like we, at least I prefer that way, that start making notes, guys, okay? It'll be good for you only. So coming back in here, as you having a magnifying glass. Any field in ServiceNow which has a magnifying glass at the end of it, such fields are called reference fields. Now, what do they do? What is the behavior of such field? If a field is a reference, guys, it will always pull the data from some other table, from some other application. Let's look. So when I click on this magnifying glass in here, it does what? Actually, I can do this way. Wait, I'll just wipe it off, Sridevi. And I go in here, I use the magnifying glass. As you can see, in the moment I clicked on the magnifying glass, the screen is popping up over here for me, right? And as you guys can see on this pop-up screen, there is a header, users reading in them. Which means it looks like the caller is pulling the data from the user table in here. Do we agree? That's the point in here. That is, this field caller in here is what? This field caller in here is nothing but over here in this particular one up, if this pop-up is coming up, caller is giving us the option to select data from certain other table. But if this table or application, whatever way you see that, if you see this table is also having the same URL, say. My demo is, as you can see in the back screen also, dev98014, it's the same URL. So always remember that when I clicked on magnifying glass, it will always pull the data from the same URL, but yeah, some other table, some other application it can pull it from. So I can go in here. This one is saying users, which we know that now it looks like that it is giving us option to select users in this case. Let's do that. Let's go in here and pick up one of the users. So let's say Rahul is facing issues, or you can even search. As you can see, the search capability is here. I'm just selecting something dummy. So let's say Rahul is facing issues. So I'll click on him for him to get selected. So what I did, I just clicked on the selected user, whosoever was the impacted person. I just clicked on it for him to get selected in here. Yeah, so that's what that is about. The next thing in here is what? Is the category. Now tell me one thing, guys. At any given point in time, is it necessary for a person to know which technical team will help them? Any idea on that? I'm an end user, I'm facing issue. Is it mandatory for me to know which technical team will fix my issue? No, it is not necessary, correct? If I'm an end user, I may know the org structure, I may not be aware about it. So that's why what we need to understand over here in this case is we need to understand that because I can't rely on end user, I can't force him to know the assignment group, to know the team who will fix the issue, which is perfectly fine, but at least he must provide the correct category there. We must put in the correct category value there. So, because later on the ticket assignment will be based on the top of it, will be based on this. So let's say, for example, if I'm facing hardware related issue, I'll select that. The moment you select a category, the subcategory shows you options related to the selected category. So when I selected hardware, hardware options are here. If I make it software, you will see software options are there, so on and so forth. Now let's say I make it a software, sorry, hardware, and under that I say, okay, maybe keyboard issue. What else? The next thing is when I've elaborated the category, subcategory, if I know the service, many companies do make these three fields again as mandatory field. How do I know a field is mandatory, guys? As you can see in here, the fields which are having star mark in front of it, they are the mandatory fields. Which means what? Which means in such field, it is mandatory for you to go ahead and populate the data. You can't leave such fields empty. The next thing to understand in this case is what? The next thing to understand over here in this particular one of this, your service. Now, what is service doing? Let's have a look. What type of field is service, guys? What did I say just a minute back? Yes. No one? Just now I told you if a field is having magnifying glass, what type of field it is called?
reference field.
Perfect, reference field. So if you see over here in this case, this is also a reference field in here. So when I'm going to this particular configuration in here, we click on this magnifying glass. And when you do so, as you can see in this case, it is pulling the data from services. So what kind of service it is which is interrupted? If you know that, yeah, you will select that. Again, within that service, which offering are we talking about? That offering you are going to select here. Again, as you can see, it is a reference. So yeah, we can do that configuration. Right now I don't have data because it is demo, but yeah, if any, we will select that. So service is about what offering the company is providing us. And service offering is segregation again, inside that selected service. In a way, for you to easily understand it, you can again see service like as an example, like a category. That is, it is more, I could say it is a more detailed kind of thing, as in you are just selecting one of the kind, one of the category kind of services, and in that, what is the specific item in which you're facing issue is your service offering. What is configuration item? People also refer configuration item by the CI. So it is nothing but which product in specific under that service is impacted. So let's say a service offering could be finance management. A service could be, finance management. Service offering could be maybe the website name. And CI will be inside that website, which particular product, which particular page got impacted. So as you can see, these are optional to fill in. Many companies do make it mandatory because it makes it easy for the technician to do his initial research. If the end user has populated all of these values properly, when the technician starts investigating the issue, he can see the product details. He gets the better understanding. Okay, what is the product configuration about? What are the attributes there and what not? People not speaking, please be on mute. Avash, please mute yourself. Next is short description. In the short description, we are giving a single line description of what issue are we facing. Okay, so let's try to see that. So I'll go over here in this case, and in the short description, let's say I say my keyboard and then obviously we'll elaborate it further that okay, X is happening, Y is happening, and whatnot. What we need to understand over here in this case is we just need to understand over here in this particular one up that anytime when I'm doing the configuration over here in this case, always remember short description is a single line description about the issue. Then what is the description? What is the purpose of that? In the description, as you can see the differences, you are going to elaborate the issue further. Description is a multi-liner, so you will have to provide the entire detail of the issue there. That's the difference between the two. Okay, so whatever elaboration is, I did X, I did Y, then this issue happened, as in the elaboration, the detail of it, yeah, you need to put in here. The next thing in here is what? The next thing in here is channel. In the channel, the caller or the end user, he is saying, okay, whatever is his preferable mode of communication. How will the caller prefer to be communicated via the by the technician, my bad. So that's what he's providing it in here. So now let's say I say chat, whatever is my preferable mode. State is all about the life cycle of incidents. I'm skipping that. We'll come back to that in a minute. Before doing these two, let's talk about priority. Anyone any idea what is the meaning of incidents or any ticket's priority? Guys.
Is it based on impact and urgency?
It is, but what is the purpose of priority? Like, what is the meaning of priority field in specific?
To identify the actions that you will take.
I would say not exactly. Like if you see priority, it is having numbers. What does that signify? Let's make it this way.
That is how urgency you need it, right? Priority. It's like
Okay, perfect. So let's say you have a ticket with priority 1 and a ticket with priority 2, just a scenario. So in that case, which one guys you will pick first? You are a technician. To you, 2 tickets are assigned, one with P1 priority and one with priority P2. The value 1, the value 2. Which one will you prioritize?
priority 1, right? Priority 3 is low. If the urgency is priority 1.
Always the priority, perfect, you said. Always the priority ones are the critical ones, then the P2, then the PT3s. That's what that is about. So always remember guys, if you have a ticket with priority 1 assigned it to you and a priority 2 assigned it to you as a technician, you always have to work on the priority 1s first, then the priority 2s. But if you will see over here in this case, as you can notice over here in this case, can you see that priority is grayed out? I can't change the priority value. So then how will it get calculated? So we need to understand over here in this particular one up that at any given point in time, it looks like that it is calculated based on these two fields value. Now let's talk about the reason of that. Why not we open the field directly rather than playing around like this? The reason to that is, guys, if I make priority directly editable, let's say you are an end user, so you may end up making every issue as a P1 because if I'm an end user, I don't know organization process. What I understand is, I understand that, okay, someone is facing issue or whatnot. So if I'm facing issue, let's say my laptop has crashed, I may end up making a priority P1 ticket in that case if priority is directly editable to me. But what do we need to understand over here in this case is, we must understand that end user should not be allowed to select priority, because let's say if my laptop is crashed, yeah, from my perspective, it is a P1, but the decision should not be done that way. Rather, the decision should be made on what? Rather, the decision should be made on based on how much is that issue impacting the overall organization. For example, very basic scenario. Let's say if I am facing certain issue, if I am the CEO of the company, yeah, it is a P1, because when your CEO is not able to do the work, every second is counting, every second is lost for the organization. But again, if I'm a regular employee, yeah, it doesn't cause that much loss to the company, even if agree that I do need to get my laptop fixed, but it doesn't cause any much business impact in that case. So that's that. So in here, if you can see the priority is grayed out, how will it get calculated? So if I'll see, I change impact, priority changes. If I change urgency, just to show it to you, again, the priority is changing. So what is the formula there? So the formula over there is that priority value is always equal to impact plus urgency and -1 at the end of it. This is how the value calculation is happening here. I'll repeat, priority is always equal to impact plus urgency -1. Okay, so that's that. Assignment group, what does that mean?
But whom should you assign to, right? For example, you are assigning to me, maybe network
Assignment
admin, network group.
Assign. Okay, yeah. You're correct. Perfect. So assignment group is nothing but the team who is going to work on the issue. Can I say so? That is what we need to understand over here in this particular one up is in the assignment group, we need to populate which group is going to fix the issue. As I said, I want to talk about a scenario where as an end user, let's say I don't know. So let's see that situation. So we'll populate it after some time, and again assign to is a person inside this. So I'm skipping these two and proceeding further. Okay, in fact, these tabs also I'll talk in a minute. Before that, let me go ahead and copy the ticket number and submit the record. Let's start with that. When I clicked on submit, as you can see, system takes me to this view of the incident application where I can see list of records of the instance. What we need to understand over here in this case is, Lata, please mute yourself. What we need to understand over here in this case is that at any given point in time, whenever we are doing the configuration in here, we need to understand what we need to understand over here in this particular one up, that in this given case, the record is created and this view of any application is called what, guys? This view of any application is called as list view. Now, why is it called list view? This one is called list view over here in this case because when I'm doing the configuration over here in this case, system is doing nothing but it is taking me to list view to see, for me to be able to see what all tickets I do have visibility of. That's that. The next thing in here is now, when I have created the ticket, what will happen? In this scenario, for example, when I created the ticket, I had not assigned it to any team. So how will that work? When I have not assigned it to any team, now let's try to talk about that configuration in here. We need to understand over here in this case, guys, that at any given point in time, whenever I'm doing the configuration and whatnot, always remember that while doing the configuration over here in this case, we need to understand what while doing the configuration in this case, now an email will get triggered to a support team in your company. What will the support team do? Support team will get email about such tickets whose assignment group is empty. So the job of the support team will be to go ahead and to reach such incidents whose assignment group is empty. Then what will they do? Once they find it out such group, then they will, based on the incidents category, subcategory, these offering and CI, he will read all those values. The support team will be having the mapping of all these. And based on the info they get, they will be populating the assignment group in there. That's what they'll do in there. So I go in here and then let's say if I'm the support team, I feel that, okay, in this case, as you can see, it is pulling the data from group. So, okay, I feel that, okay, it should be assigned to hardware. So I'll select that in there. So the support team job it is to pick up the tickets which are unassigned and assign it to the correct team. What else? Once this is done, the email, as in once assignment group is populated, support team updates the ticket. At this particular time, guys, email will be triggered to all the members of this given group. So then this group will come into picture. One of the member of this group will come into picture and assign the ticket to one of the individual, and that individual will be responsible for fixing the issue. Is that making sense to everyone? What am I talking about? So one way of assigning the tickets could be done by the support team. The other way could be that in this case, I ask not the support team, but I ask developer people like you and me, my company comes to me and gives me the mapping rule, gives me the rule that, okay, this category, this subcategory should get automatically assigned to X team, Y team, whatever. So yeah, we will even have to make use of that. If that is given it to us, we will make use of that mapping and do the mapping accordingly. So that's what that is about. Anyone, any query till here? If not, then what we need to proceed further with, we need to understand over here in this case that at this particular point in time, the email will be triggered to assignment group members. One of the member comes in here and is going to assign the ticket to himself. Before I assign the ticket, I just want to highlight your attention to something that if you see in here, guys, can you notice over here in this particular one up that in here, your ticket state has never been changed till now. Correct? So now let's proceed further. Let's even talk about that. Let's see how will that work.
So ma'am, till now, email is not yet sent, right? Until unless you assign, if you and select
Email is
something
sent
in
to
the
assignment. The moment the assignment group was populated, email was sent to all the assignment group members.
okay, so it's out of the box, right?
All these, whichever I'm talking about, everything is out of the box.
Okay, thank you.
Good till here? Now, the next thing which we need to understand over here in this particular one up is what? Is the assign to. So we'll go in here. Assign to, always remember, will not show you all the users, rather, and it is logical also, that whatever group you are selecting, assign to will only show you members of that particular group. Let's see how will that work. So when we are doing the configuration over here in this case, what do we need to understand is, we need to understand over here in this particular one up, that when we are doing the configuration in here, when we are doing the setup in here, one thing which we need to relate over here in this case is, at any given point in time, I'll select one of the user. Now this particular user, selected user, becomes responsible for fixing the issue. So let's see how will it go further. So what will happen in this particular one up when this is done? Every time when I click on update, it takes me to the list view. So what instead I want to do? I want to do a right click and save. Let's see what will that do. So when I'm doing the configuration in here, what do we need to understand is that when I'm doing the configuration over here in this particular one up, the system is giving me option to do what? The system in here is giving me option to change the state. You'll notice the moment I saved it, the state got automatically changed from new to in progress. Now, what does that signify? This one is for letting us know what? This one is for letting us know that, okay, now this particular ticket is in progress. In progress means someone is actually working for it. That's what it is signifying in here. Correct? So that's what that is about. So then what will happen? So then this particular person will start working on the ticket and whatnot. And once he is done with the fix, what will he do? He will try to resolve the ticket. What do we mean by resolve? Resolve means if the technician finds the fix of it, he is going to mark the ticket as resolved. Any one of you who can help me in understanding why the technician will not close, rather resolve the ticket?
Because technician will resolve the issue. Now it's up to requester whether he or she is accepting the solution or not.
Perfect. It's the end user's call whether the issue is actually fixed or not. So that's why what are we saying? So that is the particular reason because of which we are saying that okay, the end user who is nothing but the caller, when he raises the issue, it's finally his decision to understand the issue which he reported is completely fixed or not. That's why what we are saying is that okay, over here in this case, what configuration we will do is over here in this particular one up, the configuration which we will be doing in this case is at any given point in time, the caller, the impacted person will be closing the ticket. The technician will just resolve it. That's what that is about. So when I'm the technician, I go ahead and I resolve the ticket. Once it is resolved, then the caller will finally be closing the ticket. Anyone, any query till here, guys? Everyone all good till here? So now when the technician finds the fix of it, he will click on resolve. When the technician clicks on resolve, what you will figure it out is, you will figure it out over here in this case that at the time of resolution, certain fields are mandatory. He or she must fill in those fields values. Let's say I put in here that, okay, resolved by change or whatsoever. It is just a code and then some comments what exactly the technician did. Before I do the resolution, I want to talk about these tabs in here. In ServiceNow, tabs are called what? In ServiceNow, tabs are called nothing but they are sections in ServiceNow. So note is a section, record is a section, and likewise, resolution information is also a section. I'll save it with this much, with marking the ticket as resolved. These tabs, again, I'll elaborate it tomorrow's session. So anyone, any question till here? People who have not made the enrollment, yeah, please do the needful before next session, which will be our Monday, India Monday, US Sunday. Have a nice day, everyone, guys. Bye-bye. People, please enroll it before Monday's session. That is your Sunday evening session.